Hey everybody, this is Rhett from Basis 365. Our method of outsourcing is a bit unique and often a pleasant surprise to prospective customers once I explain it, so I thought we would kind of walk through the three types of outsourcing that you may encounter and which one we think is the best. The three types of outsourcing are onshoring, offshoring, and what we'd like to call blended. Onshoring is when you outsource a business process to a team that's based in the United States, obviously. Advantages of that is that they're in the same or similar time zones as you, normally native English speaking, and aware of the common business practices in the United States, which are important to know. Disadvantages are with US based labor, naturally it's going to be more expensive. Solution for you doesn't necessarily mean better product, but does have some of those advantages and may work for you. Some onshoring providers might find talent in lower cost of living US states, so still might be cheaper than if you try to find somebody local if you're in, let's say, San Francisco or New York. Offshoring, which most people think of as outsourcing, is naturally when the team is located outside of the United States. It's typically the cheapest option, but you have the challenges that were obviously advantages for onshoring. So they're not necessarily in a time zone near you. They may not be aware of common business US business practices and might need some more training. So there's typically a lot more training when you have an offshore provider that you need to think about. And ironically, again, doesn't necessarily mean that the offshore team has less experience. In fact, many cases they maybe have more credentials and more experience than what you might find in an onshore team. Blended is where you have both onshoring and offshoring components, or what we like to call the best of both worlds. So you have a US-based team that's maybe performing the higher level tasks. Your primary point of contact obviously knows English, knows business practices in the US more naturally, and in a similar time zone. So that's usually who you might be working with most often. And then the offshore team is going to be doing more of the day-to-day tasks, working on tasks at night or depending on the time zone, but outside for the most part of the peak work hours in the United States. And maybe doing more lower tasks, low-level tasks, but not necessarily because, again, as I said, they may have just as much credential as the US-based team, so it doesn't mean they're doing necessarily lower-level work in all cases. The primary advantage of that for us is it's the maximum value for the price. So it's not the most expensive solution, it's not the cheapest solution. Like everything we try to do at Basis, it has a nice balance between both options rather than one or the other extreme. Hopefully that helps you understand when you're outsourcing that it doesn't mean offshoring, that it could be one, two, or three different types that you want to consider and choose the one that works for you.